Well, we've seen in this war already the use by Hamas of innocent Palestinians as human shields. Israel very clearly asked the Palestinian civilian population to evacuate a week and a half ago, but Hamas blocked their exit. Here to discuss this is Dr. Amanda Alexander. She's a senior lecturer in the Thomas More Law School at the Australian Catholic University. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. So why are Hamas using innocent Palestinian civilians as human shields here, and how are they doing that?
Okay, well, there has been a practice in Gaza of using both voluntary and involuntary human shields. So when I say voluntary, I mean civilians who volunteer to shield a military objective, and involuntary human shields in that you have civilians who have military objectives or military personnel placed near them and they don't have any option about this. What's happening now is a bit different because we also have the use of Israeli hostages. The way the laws of war are set up, or sometimes called international humanitarian law, is to protect civilians and to place a lot of value on the protection of civilians, which is important to everyone. But the laws of war expect both parties to a conflict to assist in the protection of civilians. So a defending power or the controlling state, the state that has access to the civilians, should be the first step in protecting civilians, and it should do so by separating civilians, their civilian population, from military objectives. It's actually illegal under the laws of war to use your civilians or any civilians to shield a military objective.
So that's what Israel says that Hamas is doing, that they're putting their terrorist infrastructure, that they're firing missiles from sites like schools and hospitals. We know that a week and a half ago, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu very clearly ordered an evacuation, and yet there were blockades. Hamas wasn't letting people go. So are we actually seeing that they want a higher death toll here, to win a publicity war?
Well, I mean, I would like to think they don't want a higher death toll, but it places constraints on the attacking power because you cannot target civilians, and if you target military objectives, you have to take into consideration any incidental civilian casualties, right? So it's not that you can't attack the objective, but if the civilian casualties will be excessive, then the attack becomes indiscriminate and illegal. So having civilians around does constrain the attacking power, so it is useful for the defending party in this case. It also...
You mean Hamas?
Yes, Hamas, yes. It's also obviously extremely upsetting, so not just legally but ethically constrains and, and creates terrible publicity for Israel. So that is one reason.
And we're kind of seeing that international pressure already come to bear on Israel. There's so many calls for it to, make sure its response isn't over the top and people are moving away already from what Hamas has done to those 1,400 people. Amanda Alexander, I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.